Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
The truth shall set you free.
You can't handle the truth.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Hasta la vista, baby.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Hello and welcome to the Creative Control Podcast. I'm your host, Kenan Akbulut, and thank you for joining us for episode 15. This week's topic is Star Wars and what's next. Joining me for today's show from the Creative Control team, we have Sasha, Neil, and Sal. How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm good.
Very good. How are you?
We are good. We are good. Finally out of lockdown in some ways. So life is getting a little bit different. Finally got a haircut. So life is feeling good. So as I said, today's episode is about Star Wars. And in particular, we're going to be talking about the movies. Obviously, we're not necessarily going to touch on the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. But we are going to talk about a little bit about since obviously Disney purchased Lucasfilm and what they've kind of done with it. So they were pretty much promised us a movie every year, and up to 2020 they had delivered on that. So we had The Force Awakens, which was released in 2015, generally really well received. There was some criticism obviously with the comparisons of The New Hope, but for me I really enjoyed it. And I went and saw it in the cinema a couple of times. But then we had Rogue One in 2016, and I think again that was really well received for something that wasn't part of the main storyline, but it kind of fit in obviously in that gap and filled this kind of story plot hole that had been existing for years. And then we had 2017, The Last Jedi. That's probably the first film that really split audiences and fans in terms of how that was received. And again, Rise of Skywalker 2019 kind of did the same. Also kind of in there, 2018, we had Solo, which didn't really do anything at the box office. It got released in sort of like a May release, which was kind of unusual for a Star Wars movie. And I think a lot of the sour taste from The Last Jedi kind of influenced people going to see that. A lot of people didn't like the idea of anyone playing Solo other than Harrison Ford either. So kind of, that was the movie universe, and there was lots of disappointment, some highs. But then obviously Disney Plus, we got treated to the Mandalorian series, which is just amazing. And I don't know if there's any people out there who don't like that show. I haven't personally met or spoken to them, but it kind of filled us with hope again. Like it was like, well, what could have been with the films if the right people were in charge, but also gives us hope for the future. I think so. Today, what I want to kind of talk about is what we want from the movie universe moving forward. What kind of films do we want to see, and the stories that we kind of want to we would tell. So we talked about what's happened with Star Wars since Disney has taken over. So now we need to talk about what's next. Okay, so Star Wars, what's next? So the next official film in the lineup is going to be Rogue Squadron. So this is going to be directed by Patty Jenkins from the Wonder Woman franchise. The story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. So Patty Jenkins, they did this announcement at the end of last year, and she was very excited about it. Her father was a pilot, and so she's always had a passion for planes and fighter jets and stuff like that. And she said it made her want to make the greatest ever fighter pilot film that ever existed. She said she never found the right story, she never found the right project, but now her two of her loves have combined in terms of fighter piloting and Star Wars, and she's excited to make this movie. I was pretty excited to see this movie until I saw Wonder Woman 84, and now I don't know how I feel about this, because the way she treated jets in that movie was a joke. So how do we feel about Rogue Squadron? What do we want from it? Do you want to see what Patty Jenkins can offer? Would you, say, no, I want somebody else to do it? What are your thoughts on Rogue Squadron?
But I share what I call feelings about that, because I think in the last podcast, what we've done on Creative Control regarding redoing or rewriting the last two parts of Star Wars, I told you that I was super excited about this film because it's like, when it comes to Star Wars, the one thing that your kid attaches to, everybody had the saber. I was attached to those squadrons, man. Those were my favorite things. And yeah, right. After watching Wonder Woman 1984, I don't know what to feel about it. I generally don't know. But at the same time, I don't know who to, push to be in that part as a director or at least screenwriter. I mean, I hope she gets somebody else to write the damn thing.
Well,
Because
she won't be
seriously-
writing it. She's not down to write. She's purely directing. So from a directorial point of view, I think she's got the talent. I just don't think.
All right, great. If she's not writing it, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, looking at her history, where she has help or somebody else is writing the script, those films have done well.
Yeah.
And if she's writing herself, well, we watched the last one, Wonder Woman. I don't know what the hell that is. And when you're right about the what it called treating the jets stupidly. I mean, she literally picked up the only jet that cannot fly to Egypt from North America and flew it to Africa somehow.
Oh,
brilliant. Anyhow, it is the only one I'm looking forward to when it comes to all of this. I mean, I will watch all the TV shows that are coming up, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But when it comes to films, it's the only one I'm looking forward to because I have no idea what was it Taikiki? No, Waikiki. What I can't pronounce his name. Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody know what he's
Rogue
doing?
Squadron?
Yeah.
Like you, I was like, okay, like she did Wonder Woman, like she's done, and the things she did before Wonder Woman, I was like, all right, cool. She got the chops, she can do it. Then I saw Wonder Woman 84, and
yeah,
literally like I sat there for the 2.5 hours or whatever watching Wonder Woman 84, just getting more and more irritated. Right? And then the film finished, and I was like, cussing. I was cussing because I sat there and wasted, parts of my December watching that film. But then it clicked in my head. I was like, hold on, how's she gonna do Star Wars after she just did that? Right?
Yeah.
I was like, listen, Star Wars fans, right? We've run the gauntlet, okay? We've had our high moments and our low moments, right? We have suffered enough. We don't need no more suffering.
No, something that is kind of stuck in my head is like I was like watching Wonder Woman, sort of like going, oh no, and then you look over and see her attached to Rogue Squadron, and you're like, oh, no. It's like it was just like, yeah, but anyway, Sasha, thoughts on Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron. Okay, so Rogue Squadron, the actual brand has meaning. Okay, huge fan of Rogue Squadron. I collected the comics, the Dark Horse comics, as a kid in my teens and stuff. I've got every single issue ever. Okay, I've got all the Michael J. Stackpole novels as well. And obviously, if you're an old school fan from that era and those comics, it was clearly tales based after Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean? And based around, with original trilogy characters, and the leader of Rogue Squadron was Wedge Antilles, McGregor's uncle, for people that don't know. So the name of Rogue Squadron, first thing a Star Wars fan's going to think is, where's Wedge? But when you look at the logo they did, it's not OG X-Wing, it's a more recent era X-Wing, being sequel trilogy X-Wing. So we're not going to get Wedge. Or maybe we will. Maybe they will cameo Dennis Lawson as a cameo role in the film like they did Rise of Skywalker. Maybe they'll pay him the mad money and have him be an advisory role, and it's the new cadets and shit. Yeah. But the thing is, when you look at the sequel trilogy, quite clearly Poe Dameron is, the leader of Rogue Squadron then. And quite clearly you've got the guy from Lost in it as well, the cop guy from Hero, he's in there. And it's about those guys. Yeah. So, I don't know. Here's the thing. If you wanted to excite Star Wars fans, you say Wedge Antilles is the guy. You know what I mean? Front and center, the guy. And you know what? I'm not even against a recast of the character. It doesn't have to be Dennis Lawson. Dennis Lawson doesn't want to come back to Star Wars, really, not on a full-time basis. And the main reason is that's not even his voice in the original trilogy. He got dubbed by a US actor. So getting an actor that looked like him roughly, back in the 80s, like a recast set in a original timeline, in a original trilogy, I'd be balls deep in for that. You know what I mean? Personally, but because it's set in the sequel era, I don't care. I actually don't care. But you know, show me. You know what I mean? I'm in this place where show me, and if it's good, I'll be impressed. But my thoughts on it now, I have no thoughts. I'm like, cool, whatever, just impress me. You know what I mean? I can't shit on it from high because I don't know who's writing it, etc. Sequel trilogy doesn't excite me. It just doesn't.
Do you think they could use this as an opportunity as a spin-off for the Poe Dameron character? So that maybe he is running a cadet school and it's a bunch of new people coming in.
They could do that. They could do that, but the thing is, Oscar Isaac has said and confirmed he's not coming back unless he needs a new house. So you know what I mean? He's like more or less.
And he's got Moon Knight. He's got Moon Knight.
And he's got Moon Knight. And
you know what? He says that, right? And I'm sure Disney's gonna be like, all right, where'd you stick all that dynamite?
Yeah,
like,
but
it's under Poe's house. Don't worry, we'll be back.
but this is the thing, though. This is the thing. It's, you know, that era of Star Wars is so jumbled up that people aren't excited for it. You know what I mean? A large amount of the original fan base don't want to see anything from that era. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be honest, we might be better off as a clean slate. And it's like, look, the Skywalker era is done.
Yeah,
exactly. We're done with, you know, we're done with Rey, we're done with Finn, we're done with Poe. You know, we know Finn ain't coming back. So, you know, it's just like, that is what it is.
And that's why.
Let's go with a fresh new world.
And that's what made Rogue One, Mandalorian, and even so. The thing is, when you have a character like Solo, even though Solo was a good movie in my eyes, you know, you get people like Neil that had a different kind of expectation for it. So do you know what I mean? You're always like tiptoeing over what you're fucking up. Whereas if you do the Rogue One, Mandalorian kind of route, you know what I mean? You've got a bit more creative license to do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
And Mandalorian is a perfect example of taking a very small part of the Star Wars world, a very limited number of characters, but creating a world and a story that you really care about. And, you know, the effects have been done brilliantly. They're able to film a lot more in real time so they can see the environment and stuff they're working with and that kind of stuff, which makes a huge difference to the production. But I suppose for Rogue Squadron, the anticipation is it's going to be a lot of dogfights, right? It's got to be a lot of action. It's got to be a lot of basically just set up in space. They might have some ground fights and, you know, aerial fights, like low ground up in space. That is pretty much going to have to be the climatic thing. And so I suppose from that point of view, it's going to be a bit of a spectacle, but it's about bringing us new characters that we'll actually care about.
You know what it needs to be?
Top Gun in space.
Exactly that. That's what you need to do, right? It needs to be Top Gun.
I feel the need for light speed.
I tell you, right, for me, I think the perfect way to kind of like sew everything up in a nice, neat bow would be to have the character of Wedge Antilles, have him there as like the old man who is like running the training school. And, you know, he's like, you know, he can be that old senior guy who's like, you lot ain't shit. I was there.
Recast Dennis Lawson, enter Tom Cruise. Boom.
Yo, that'd be amazing.
Don't think I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. This might upset some fans, but like I said before, Dennis Lawson was dubbed. He doesn't want to be there. Fine. You need an A-lister. You don't get bigger A-lister than Tom fucking Cruise. You know what I mean? And like, I'm sorry.
But the thing is, Tom Cruise will want to film it in space. He'll want
exactly
the travel at light speed. There's gonna be some big demands on that movie.
Yeah, totally. But no,
he's like, look, man, Elon Musk just blew up a little while ago, right? It's like we ain't got time to go into space, Tom.
Yeah. But I mean, for me personally, I mean, like, if I had creative control on Rogue Squadron, I would recast Wedge Antilles. I'd go to Dennis Lawson and try to convince him. But because I know he's kind of like, nah, I don't want to do it, I would recast Wedge. I would base it around the characters of the books and the comic books, and I would create an original Top Gun in space, post Return of the Jedi kind of world. You know what I mean? And if you want a cameo from someone, hey, put in a bit of Mando because he's in with the kids right now. You know what I mean? Like,
It's when they're the kids.
yeah. So there you go. There you go. But yeah, that's what I would do. You guys?
Yeah.
I would just get a brand new characters, brand new everything, simply because we all know we'll fight at the end of the day. One's there, one's not there. So when it's completely clean, it's either everybody happy or nobody happy, sort of a thing. So I think, but when it comes to like what Sasha said, you get a lot more room when it comes to creative control. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of the guy's name, but I thought of a perfect recast, I think, for Wedge. Oh, this is going to annoy me now.
What movie is in?
Hang on. Mark Rylance.
Oh yes, bloody hell! Oh yeah, he could.
Oh, it was an older Wedge.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mark Rylance. So he was in Bridge of Spies. He was in
Spielberg's go-to guy, BFG.
yeah, exactly. And he was in Ready Player One and stuff like that. So I think he could play that, and he could be that guy in charge of that that cadet school. So
He's really good. Yeah.
Okay, so the next movie up in the movieverse of Star Wars is the so far untitled Taika Waititi film. So when it was announced, it was said a brand new Star Wars feature with the acclaimed filmmaker and Academy Award winner Taika Waititi is in development. Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. This was Kathleen Kennedy. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. To me, they are just going to let him loose and do what he wants. Pretty much
the better
in like Thor Ragnarok style, where it's like ad lib, make it fun, make it different to anything else we've seen before in Star Wars. And I'm for that. I have no issues with that. I think he's a hugely talented director, writer, actor. I don't think there's anything he's done I haven't enjoyed. So what are your thoughts on him taking on a Star Wars movie?
I'm really for it. I mean, I'd love to see a Jojo Rabbit version with Darth Vader in it, you know, where instead of Hitler, you got Darth Vader.
Maybe they'll take it back and it'll be Ben Solo talking to Darth.
Yeah,
Vader.
maybe. I don't know. I mean, he definitely does have a fresh approach to all of his projects. They all are different. None of them are alike. But one thing's for sure, that each and every project has humor in it. So I wonder if there will be humor in it. And if it does, it will be different to Star Wars. Because we all remember the New Hope had humor in it from Han Solo. And that's it, really. So it could be fun. I'm looking forward to it. But I have no idea what it's going to be. So that also kind of puts more weight to it. You know, more excitement to see what was going to happen.
It's the unexpected, isn't it?
Exactly.
Sasha, what are your thoughts?
Got no opinion whatsoever. Show me, don't tell me. You know what I mean? At this point, but because it's Taika Waititi, and I'm going to go completely left field. If it's more comedic, no, you know what? He did the good episode of Mandalorian. He did the final episode of Mandalorian season 1. So it shows me that, you know, maybe it might not be comedic, because here's the thing, he did, it had comedic elements, but Star Wars sense of humor isn't necessarily for Ragnarok, etc. But if that is what they're going for, let's say that is what they're going for, hey, there's one character that can benefit from that and redeem himself in a big way. He's been absent for like 20 years. Give him the Jar Jar Binks movie, I'm in. Okay, and now I've just scared everyone.
That was coming.
I've scared everyone. You thought it as well?
I knew that was coming out of you.
Think about it. My man does digital characters really well. If he could make fucking Jar Jar the next Korg and make it work, people would love him for it. And hey, if you're a coach for a football team, go with the failing option and make it work. You'd be praised for life. But you know, aside, I don't really know what this thing is going to be.
He's Brendan Rodgers.
but I know what this thing's going to be, so I can't really get excited about it either way. You know what I mean? So until we have an announcement as of what it is or whether he's actually doing it, because you've got to understand, Chris Hemsworth is hot property. Yeah, he's re-upped at Marvel, but you know what I mean? Like, I could imagine the next Thor doing well, and Marvel just being, yeah, fuck that Star Wars project. We want you back for another Thor. Do your trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, he's also
You know what I
down
mean?
to be
So-
writing the new Flash Gordon movie as well. So he's got 2 space epics coming up.
See, that's just it. So
That's for his wheelhouse, I think.
Mhm.
yeah, so
And Neil, what's your thoughts on him doing a Star Wars movie? I mean, like you said, he's shown his directing capabilities in Mandalorian, but that's not something he's written. But it looks like he's writing and directing this. Do you think he's going to surprise us with, you know, something a little bit more subtle? I don't see it being a you know, like a Thor Love and Thunder or Thor Ragnarok. But what do you think he might try and go for? Or what, as a creator, or would you ask him to do?
Well, I mean, to be honest, if I were Disney, I'd literally just be like, okay, look, here's $200 million. Go have fun, right? Here's your release date. I'll see you then, right? But at the same time, I do think that I don't know. I feel like he's not gonna try and like. I think because he's so intelligent, I think, and because his humor is so very him,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're kind of like under. I feel like to a degree we're kind of under the impression that he'll do it in the Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit kind of way, and I feel like with that, it's sort of like I'm not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he'll take it more in line with something like Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll be his version of something to that degree.
Well, I mean, he can direct a lot of heart. So I don't know if you know this, but the Coca-Cola Christmas advert of last year, you know, where the kid writes a letter and the guy's trying to get a letter to Santa.
Yeah,
Taiki, he directed that.
Uh-huh.
That was him.
That was him. You know, so he crops up all over the place doing lots of different little projects. Because again, you know, he's actor, writer, director.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a short that he did. Like Sash said, he did Mandalorian. He's done some TV shows. And I think he's got a lot of range. He actually directed 5 episodes of The In-Betweeners.
US one.
Yes, unfortunately. But you know, it's I think I watched 1 episode and I had to quit. It wasn't good. But yeah, I suppose he appears to be someone of a particular style, but I think he's actually got a lot of surprises in what he can deliver. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. So in terms of the other movies, obviously there's loads of TV shows which are coming up on Disney Plus. We've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi series where Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are coming back. We've got the Ahsoka series, which is going to be a spin-off of Mandalorian. We got Rangers of the New Republic, which is set in the timeline of the Mandalorian. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni again are going to use their stories to kind of intertwine with that. We've got Lando, so brand new event for Disney Plus. Justin Simon, creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing the story. We've got Andor, so it's going to be like a spy thriller created by Tony Gilroy. Is due out in 2022. Diego Luna's reprising his role from Rogue One, so we're going to see more of that character, and potentially, obviously, if it's based on that timeline, we might see other characters reappear for some, you know, appearances. I think we've got Genevieve O'Reilly as Mothma and stuff like that coming back. We've got The Acolyte. So Leslie Headland, Emmy Award-winning creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll, is bringing a new series. It's a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. We've got Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which is we were first introduced in the Clone Wars, and then, you know, we've got Star Wars Visions and a Droid Story, so some more animated series and stuff like that. There's a lot going on Disney Plus in terms of the shows. Are there any of those which you would say, actually, I would like to see a movie of that instead? Or are there other properties you're like, this is what we should be exploring. This is a video game that I want to see as a movie. This is a story that hasn't been told that I want to see. If you had creative control, what would be the subject story or something that you would take to the big screen?
I got a question. You know what the Mandalorian, when it ended, what was the show that it introduced at the end of its season
Book
2?
of Boba. The Book of Boba.
Right. Yeah, I am quite interested to see that. I mean, that as a TV show would be good, but that as a movie, I think it would be great if it's big heisty sort of a thing. But I'm also interested in what it call? Is it Ahsoka?
Ahsoka.
Yeah. Ahsoka.
Yeah, there is a Rosario Dawson.
Dario
Right?
Dawson.
Yeah, that. I've not seen Clone Wars yet. I know she's in it, and I'm gonna start what I call next week, the Clone Wars, before what I call the Bad Batch comes out, so I can see that in time. But I am definitely interested in seeing that as a movie because I don't know, somehow it feels like there's a lot more to that character and a lot more stories with that character attached to it. At least what I've heard from people. So yeah, I like to see those two.
Neil, what would you take to the big screen? Any of those projects or something different?
You know what? I think even though there are aspects of it that I'm not a fan of, I don't like, I think I would say the Acolyte. Because my whole kind of feeling of why I love Star Wars is the whole is Jedis. Jedis and Sith. I love, the idea, like, I'm a huge samurai fan, so anything with swords got me. And I'm like, you space laser sword, like, sold. Right? So, like, and the thing is, I feel like sometimes when you make a film from the quote unquote villain's point of view, you get to embrace things a lot better. You get to push things out a lot better. So I feel like that would be the way to go because of everything that they've announced, the Acolyte is the only thing where it's like, okay, you're talking about dark side. Dark side means Sith for the most part, and it means villain for the most part. And I'm like, run with that. Me personally, if I had sole complete creative control, it's gonna be initially it would have just been a bounty hunter, but now that obviously Mandalorians come out, it will be Mando. He'd be hired to hunt down a character, and then he'd be investigating it, and that character would be Jar Jar Binks, but it would be like my man George's original vision. He's a Sith.
Yeah.
I don't give a good damn what anybody says. I'll be like, yep, Jar Jar Binks is a Sith. He is a Sith Lord. When everything was going down, he was like, okay, I'll be the secret apprentice. And then when he started seeing, like Count Dooku get killed off and then Anakin become Vader, he was like, you know what, bro? I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to let you do what you're doing. If the shit don't work out, I might pick up the pieces. And he's basically like the way we saw Darth Maul at the end of Solo, where he's just like a gangster. Bro, just have flipping little Jar Jar Binks, just have him running that. I'd have him as a total gangster, and I'd have it that every time you see him or come across him, he's like, you know what it'd be? It'd be the usual suspects, and Jar Jar Binks is Kaiser Soze. That's what it would be, right? It'd be the usual suspects in space, right? Jar Jar Binks is your Kaiser Soze. He'll be there helping whoever the main is. If it is Mando, then it's Mando. But he'd be there helping him out. And for the entire time...
You got to throw Jabba in there as some gangster.
Yeah. It would be all whatever gangsters you need in Star Wars. I'd be having them there, and they would all be doing the bits. And it would literally just be this whole gangster thing. And at the very end, he just switches. And then you're like, oh, son of a bitch. He was the whole time, because someone showed me a picture, and it was a picture of Jar Jar Binks, a picture of Darth Maul. It was Jar Jar Binks from Revenge of the Sith, a picture of Darth Maul from Solo, and a picture of someone else. I can't remember who that third person was, but all three of them were wearing the same symbol. They were all wearing the same symbol, which is like the mark of allegiance to like criminals kind of thing, right? And it was like the caption just read, "You thought we didn't notice, but we did."
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, look, man, I'm good with that, because you know what? It works perfectly. The whole time you're looking at this unassuming guy and you're like, oh, this guy's a dickhead. And then he turns out to be, you know, the biggest criminal in the universe. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that now. Because now I respect you for playing the idiot all this time.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, that only works if there was no Count Dooku. The whole point of the whole Jar Jar Binks theory was that was supposed to be revealed in Attack of the Clones, and that was changed, allegedly changed, because there's been no verification. There's been none. It's just speculation.
The actors hinted towards it in interviews, but not directly come out and said it.
Has he though? I've not heard that. Okay, that's something new that I've just heard. But I was under the impression that it was a big fan theory. No one's confirmed or denied that by any official capacity. That I do know. But you know, to be able to make use of that, you can't have Dooku, and that's because of the rule of two.
Yeah.
You know, quite frankly, it's like there's only a master and an apprentice. You know, you know, there hasn't been a Sith sighting in a millennia pre-Phantom Menace, so you've got to work within the confines of canon, kind of thing. Otherwise, people are going to go fucking nuts. You know, which is a bit of a thing, which is why I'm actually not looking forward to The Acolyte at all, because what's it, Lindsay Headland, you know, I saw her in an interview, she was giving very blasé kind of answers about Star Wars in general. What's your favorite Star Wars? Oh, you know, I like all of them equally. It's like, cool. So no one likes them equally.
No.
I mean, no one does. What's your favorite bit in Star Wars? Oh, that bit in the new one, you know, with Rey and what. It's like, what? Okay, cool. What do you like about Star Wars? They asked her, and she was just like all of it, everything. You know what I mean? She was very blasé. She don't know what she's talking about, and they've given her it. All right, cool. She might do a good job, because Tony Gilroy did the reshoots of Rogue One, and he knew nothing about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He knew nothing about Star Wars. He just knew how to make a good movie with what they had. So, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see. However, you know, The Acolyte, you've got to understand, that is bridging this whole High Republic thing that they brought out. I've not read the High Republic, and I'll put my hands up to that. But the stuff I'm hearing out of it sounds terrible. But I can't confirm or deny how bad it is, because I've not read it. So I'm not going to trash it.
So what would you bring to the big screen then? What would you think is the next movie that you would put out there? Is it a new trilogy? Is it a standalone? Is it like a Vader movie? You know, it's like take Rogue One and just.
So are we just talking movies and stuff? For me, you know what, movie, I think TV shows are where it's at for Star Wars, to be honest.
You think there should be a bit of a break?
I think there should be a bit of a break for the movies, to be honest. I think what they're doing TV wise is the perfect move. I think, yeah, I'd like a few spin-offs into movies for sure. But to be honest, it all depends on who's attached, whether they know the lore and stuff. And until Lucasfilm sort out their internal problems, I'm not going to get excited for any of these projects. You know, I'm really scared for Kenobi. I'm really scared they're going to fuck it up, because again, like Solo, you've got to tiptoe amongst canon and boundaries and stuff. You know, they've got to do certain things. You know what I mean? It's better to go with something where you've got an unlimited, you know, kind of thing. And that's the problem with Star Wars. You know, I think TV shows are easy to dismiss, but when they're great, you could, you know what I mean? Everyone's going to talk about it, you know?
So fans are talking a lot about Knights of the Old Republic. Is that something that you would think that could be the next movie in terms
I
of?
would rather see a TV show.
Yeah,
I'd rather see
why
it
is
as a
that?
TV show because as a video game, and some really good novels that are out, which Neil has read. I've not read the novels, but I've played the games.
Brilliant.
You know, as a movie, you know, when you play a game, you know, it doesn't translate well into a movie per se because you've got 2 hours worth of screen time to hit all the beats, get this in, get that in.
But
And
what
you've
if it
got-
was that was the next trilogy? What if they span that over a trilogy, over a trilogy?
It'd be like Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Knights of the
yeah.
Old Republic is so dense.
Yeah.
Reference, so dense with knowledge, so dense with just a rich history of its own. Like it's so rich that it doesn't even necessarily need to be like, you know, you look at the Knights of the Old Republic and you think of how far before A New Hope this stuff is set, or how far before A Phantom Menace this stuff is set. Like, and it's so rich, so dense. It's literally the equivalent of like, how can I put it? It's the equivalent of like, I guess for say like a Star Trek fan, like you have the original series and then you have Next Generation. The gap between those two is infinitely shorter than the comparison between Knights of the Old Republic and Phantom Menace.
Okay, so if
I would, but
you're in
back to your
control-
question, what
Yeah, go on.
would I adapt? I would adapt Knights of the Old Republic, but as a TV series.
Okay.
Hands down. The two things I would adapt is Knights of the Old Republic and what's it? Tales of the Jedi. And Tales of the Jedi, you know, Knights of the Old Republic, I've played it once. I wouldn't, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Do I think it's the greatest Star Wars game ever? I don't think it's the greatest Star Wars game of all time. But you know, unlike some people, but that's because you know, I'm into other genres of video games. But story-wise, yes, it's very rich and really good. It has great characters, and I think it would really benefit from a TV show. As for Tales of the Jedi, you can't make that as a movie. You can't. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. And but to do it as a TV show, like Game of Thrones, not violent wise or nudity, you don't need any of that, but I'd say Game of Thrones in scale, because you know what I mean, Game of Thrones is Lord of the Rings, but the TV version, but because of TV, what we can do now is huge. Like you could really go places.
I had bigger budget than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so you could really go to places with Tales of the Jedi, with and both with Knights of the Old Republic because of the vastness of it. I don't think Star Wars on the big screen. Like, look, if you'd asked me this question pre-Last Jedi, I'd be naming stuff. I mean, like, you know what I would do though if I was to make a movie now? If I was Sacha Laurie, a director, I'd be like, yo, Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's a big name. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a Qui-Gon movie. I'll make it in vein of a Star Wars version of Taken. You know what I mean? Have a particular set of skills, and everyone loves Qui-Gon Jinn. You know what I mean? Everyone likes Qui-Gon Jinn. I'd do that movie. Fuck it. You know what? I'd do a Mace Windu movie. You know what I mean? Because people want to see Mace Windu doing shit. Samuel L. Jackson's been itching to come back. I would do that movie. I would do you know what I mean? Like that.
What about stuff like Darth Bane or the Force Unleashed?
Well, Darth Bane is part of the Old Republic, so I wouldn't touch that as a movie.
Banging that drum for years.
Yeah. As for the Force Unleashed, unfortunately, Force Unleashed has been retconned by Disney themselves. You can't do the Force Unleashed now because of the events of Rogue One, mainly because of Rogue One. Rogue One. A lot of the story points from Rogue One retcons the Force Unleashed completely. You could take that character though. You could take that character and put him in the new Star Wars canon somewhere. He would be an Inquisitor. If you watch Star Wars Rebels, there are like 9 Inquisitors now. You can make it, and there are a couple that we still haven't seen. You could make him one of the Inquisitors and take story points from that, maybe, but adapt it in a completely different way. But unfortunately, that story would be completely different because of the existence of Rogue One. So you got to understand, with the EU, with all the expanded universe, you could adapt those characters much like a Marvel movie, but you've got to understand whatever you do would have to be changed to what Disney have established with what they've put out there and what they say is canon. So that's just it. That's why I wouldn't go with a movie, and that's why I'd probably do a Qui-Gon Jinn movie and a Mace Windu movie, because you know what I mean. One, we know who these movie stars are. We know exactly when they're going to be set. Qui-Gon's totally going to be set before Phantom Menace. Hell, you could get a child as Obi-Wan. Yeah, I mean him teaching a young Obi-Wan going on adventures across the galaxy, bringing law and order. You know, because they're Jedi doing their shit. I'd watch the shit out of that movie. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a Liam Neeson movie. But I mean, like, again, if you'd asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. I would have been like, oh my God, this, oh my God, that. But it's like, you got to really think about what serves those stories better. Is it TV? Is it films? And, you know, the way TV has exploded now because of shows like The Mandalorian and stuff, you know, TV's a much better, more interesting place to tell these stories now. And I think Star Wars on the big screen, it's just become a bit too risky. It needs a break. So,
yeah, and I suppose that's the thing now. Obviously, because of Disney Plus and The Mandalorian, it's shown us a way of seeing Star Wars in a different light. It's shown us a way of being able to spend more time with characters and particular stories, and shows like Game of Thrones, you know, where it was huge and epic, and the stories would evolve, and the way that, you know, it would go into so much depth about the characters and their history and the past. And, you know, you think, I want more of that. You know, I don't necessarily want everything stuck in a 2-hour movie and shortened down and stuff like that. So maybe Star Wars, the best thing for them is some of the big blockbusters, is the movies like Rogue Squadron, where it's just be a bit more bang, you know, here's 2 hours worth of some action and go for it, you know, as opposed to thinking we always have to do a trilogy, we always have to do, you know, continuations of stories. Just do one-off pieces, you know, and just throw it out there and just say, look, here, enjoy yourself for 2 hours, don't worry about the bigger picture, these are some characters, have some fun.
I mean, 5 years ago, back on Zeno's Gang, you know, I talked about what I'd do with the Boba Fett movie. That was the standalone I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And you know what I said? I said back then, I said it needs to be done like an old school Western. It needs to be a bounty hunter. I want to see him doing bounty hunter thing. But my idea was based on a pop-up book, actually. It's based on an actual existing pop-up book. And it's basically, my idea would have been the journey from Bespin, Cloud City, to Tatooine, delivering Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt. And basically, you know, those other bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back, where you got Bosk and you got, IG-88 and all of those guys. All of those guys, spaghetti Western style, across the galaxy, trying to capture Han Solo as the cargo and bring him to Jabba the Hutt. Then when he gets to Jabba's going to double cross him. He's got people, you know, his people over there to fuck up Boba Fett. You know what I mean? That would have been it. But you know what? I got that in a whole new way with the Mandalorian. And the biggest difference is they more or less gave us a brand new character, which meant he wasn't tied to what Boba Fett is. And then when they gave us Boba Fett, they gave us Boba Fett. You know what I mean? Like, they gave us Boba Fett. So it's been done. That idea is gone. It's redundant. You can't do it now. You know what I mean? And it was on the card. The Boba Fett movie was supposed to be directed by Josh Trank. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then Van Forstic came out, and then they were like, yeah, we're not doing that. You know? Yeah. So,
and the Game of Thrones writers, they were supposed to write a Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. You know, there's been so many changes. As much as been announced, they pulled a lot of stuff as well.
But if I had creative control at Disney in general, I'd be like, yo, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, you guys are in charge now. You're the Kevin Feige's now. Now sort this shit out. And you know what? I wouldn't have to second guess. I'd be like how I am with my Marvel. I'd be like, they got this.
Just do what you want. Yeah, we trust you. We trust you.
Because they've built the trust. They've shown it in shades. But you know, when I look at stuff like Kenobi, where I should be really excited about, not excited. I'm like,
he's probably the one I'm most nervous about.
Yes, exactly.
It's the one I'm so excited to see what they do with it. and how they bring Hayden Christensen back and what stories they're planning on telling, and how much of he is, is it just going to be all Darth Vader? It's just is so much to question about it. It's so exciting, but yeah, it's really nervous. It's like you could really tarnish these characters and just it could make the prequels look excellent. It could be a continuation of that, and you think, oh wow, this is brilliant. I really like those characters, and I like the actors who played them, and just take it from there. So it's really interesting. And what do we think about Hayden Christensen coming back? He's hasn't done a lot of stuff. I mean, if he's going to be behind a mask.
Well, no, he has done plenty of
He's done
stuff.
quite a lot of stuff actually, but they're mainly like streaming movies. I mean, he did
in terms of like box office draw, obviously he's not.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, nothing. No, but I mean, he's been working. I think he's Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he not?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah, I think he's did a lot of work back home. I don't think he has done that much in Hollywood that much. I mean, he sort of disappeared, but every now and again, on an Amazon back catalog, you get these Canadian shows. You switch them on, he's there. You're like, all right, the guy's still alive. But I like to see him back. I agree with you though. I am definitely nervous about that because too many old names are coming in. Too many old names of some movies that I not really liked. The prequel trilogy that was. But let's see. I mean, they can do a lot with it. This new technology, what they're using with Mandalorian, I mean, this could slash the budgets quite a bit and can help them tell great stories. Yeah. And I hope they use it well.
Do we expect to see it largely Obi-Wan and Darth Vader? I mean, because obviously, yes, Hayden Christensen's coming back, but if he's just coming back to play a suit, what's the kind of point? Do you know what I mean? Are they going to be doing? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of flashbacks, them training together, de-aging them, maybe, and all that kind of stuff, and just to build up on that relationship more than maybe we missed out, but maybe replace some of the stuff from Clone Wars.
Yeah, you've got to understand. When Ewan McGregor was cast for Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace, he was like what? I think he was like 29, playing a 19-year-old. And then you got to understand with Attack of the Clones, there's a 10-year time jump.
Yeah.
There's also a 5-year time jump between, that could be more now depending on how long the Clone Wars actually is, because that time gap keeps changing. The more shows they make and stuff. But like, what I mean? There's a time jump. And what you got to understand is the age he is in Revenge of the Sith is the age he is now. So you got to understand that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are always playing older than what they actually are, if that makes sense. More Ewan McGregor than Hayden Christensen, but and now's the time they and if you look at Hayden Christensen, he hasn't aged that much, and even Ewan McGregor, Ewan McGregor's got the crow's eyes and stuff, but makeup can sort that out. You know what I mean? And plus, anyway, you should have had that in the last movie. So there's loads of little stuff. I mean, how big a role is Hayden Christensen going to be in there? We're just second guessing now. If I had creative control, I would do probably 1 or 2 full episodes where you really show them in the Clone Wars, showing their relationship as master and apprentice, showing their dynamic and stuff, to basically make us go, we don't have to watch the prequels if you weren't into the prequels. You know what I mean? Also gives Hayden Christensen a chance to redeem himself under a different director and and a better script. On top of that, for people that kind of frowned upon him, if that makes sense. And also, I'd probably film Hayden Christensen with flashback sequences for other stuff that, to further the story. Maybe other times, in their relationship when they were friends, or where he sees them as a father figure, etc., etc. Because you've got to understand, Obi-Wan Kenobi's, he's a veteran of the Clone Wars. He's probably suffering from PTSD and stuff. That's something I would have done. Stuff I would have. Now this is the problem, because now I'm saying stuff that I would like, which I'll probably never get. But I would have. That's
the point of the show, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So all right, if we're going there, all right, 3 seasons. 3 seasons. All right. And everyone's like, you can tell 3 seasons. At first, like everyone else, I was like, I don't think I can tell 3 seasons, but this is what I do. Season 1. All right, season 1. The main thing with season 1 is that Obi-Wan's a protector of Luke Skywalker. He just watches over him. he's there just in case shit goes down. You know what I mean? In case someone comes to find Luke and whatnot. Now, why do I say someone? Disney themselves invented the Inquisitors. Okay, they're Dark Jedi. They're not fully fledged Sith because there can only be two. They've got them searching the galaxy for Force users basically to execute them or go come join us or die. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And they're basically the guys that Vader sends out, across the galaxy, because Vader can't be everywhere. He deals with like superpowered Jedi. You know what I mean? You maybe have an opening scene where Vader executes like a Jedi master who's been in hiding. You know what I mean? Because they're all in hiding and stuff. And then, you've got Inquisitors out there doing the dirty work. So basically that first season, maybe Obi-Wan does go to nearby planets. Maybe he's a drunk down at Mos Eisley. Maybe he does little jobs for Jabba the Hutt. You know what I mean? Because he needs an income, right? He needs to, he's got some skills. You know what I mean? And he's hiding the fact that he's a Jedi. Maybe he doesn't have his lightsaber with him because he's in hiding. Because if he gets outed, you know what I mean? He adopts the name of Old Ben. Now, within the 3 seasons, it's about, you got to understand, he gave the Lars, Owen, and Aunt Beru a child. Okay? We need to explore that dynamic, and we've got to get to the point where this guy that gives them the child of Anakin Skywalker probably make him like John and Martha Kent. You know what I mean? To a degree, where they're raising this child. He has abilities, but he's unaware of it. Not go full Superman with it, but you know what I mean? Have that conversation that he's a special child and shit. Maybe also have that whole thing that like they trust Kenobi. You know what I mean? But obviously, when you get to A New Hope, they don't want that man about. You know what I mean? They don't want him anywhere. They don't want him to know his dad. They don't want nothing. You know what I mean? So you have to have like that breakdown between Kenobi and the Lars. You know what I mean? What is the drama that goes on there? I want to explore that. I want to see that. That should be the heart. That should actually be the heart of the whole thing. The family dynamic. And why the family dynamic? Because that's what Star Wars is about. It's a soap opera. You know what I mean? It's the family dynamic. They're the family. Now, the other thing is, as a fan, and this is filling up plot holes from the 6 films that we never see. As fans, we find out that, Jimmy Smits, Princess Leia's foster father, sends Obi-Wan on a mission from the Clone Wars. We never see that. Even in the Clone Wars cartoon, we never get that moment. So why don't we show it in this show? See those 2 episodes I mentioned with Hayden Christensen? That's the mission. You know what I mean? Whatever that mission is, creative control, we just like make what blah blah. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Just do it. Just fill up that plot hole. Everyone's happy. All right, or happy-ish. Now, season 1, like I said, the main antagonist. Yeah, Darth Vader's in it, but he's like at his Star Destroyer. Maybe have a Grand Admiral Thrawn or Peter Cushing cameo. You know what I mean? Throw in that shit. But the main antagonist is an Inquisitor. You show there's more than one. You have a particular Inquisitor. He comes to Tatooine. You know what I mean? And it's basically Obi-Wan's trying to protect the child and make sure that he doesn't find out about the child. And more importantly, executing that motherfucker before he goes back to Vader. That is the whole point of season 1. Season 2, this is where I give people what they want, and everyone's overlooking this. Okay, Vader has to be the villain for season 3. Okay, who is my villain for season 2? You see, there's someone out there in the galaxy around this time looking for Ben Kenobi. His name's Darth Maul. I want that showdown. Everyone wants that showdown. I'll give him Darth Maul and show Darth Maul why. Go into why Darth Maul can't reveal himself to the Emperor, because you know what I mean. At the end of Clone Wars, the Emperor wants him gone. He wants to take down the Emperor. Maybe he, there's loads of stuff you can do with Maul. There's loads of stuff you can do with Kenobi. But the thing is, whatever happens to Darth Maul can't die in it because of Rebels. But in Rebels, when you meet Maul in Rebels, he's stuck on a Sith planet. Okay. And it's the Sith planet from Knights of the Old Republic. You need to get him to Malachor. You've got to have a showdown between Kenobi and Maul at Malachor and leave Maul on the planet, kind of Khan style, Ratha Khan style, where he's just like, Kenobi, you know what I mean? Because like he's stuck on this planet, he can't get off, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, hell, on that planet is ancient Sith knowledge. Maybe fucking Kenobi's like, you want that knowledge, you can keep it, and he leaves him there stranded, and he's like angry, and he wants to kill Kenobi. You know what I mean? And that's it. He, you know, one, and you could also have maybe, because at the end of Rebels, Maul's journey of Rebels, he gets a sense that like Luke's got something to do with the chosen one. Okay, so maybe Maul's putting it together. You know what I mean? In that thing, and it's again protecting Luke. You know what I mean? And we get, more importantly, we get the lightsaber rematch that everyone wants to see live action. That's my season 2. Season 3, Vader. You must confront Vader. And this is the most important confrontation. If they get this wrong, I'll be pissed. In Return of the Jedi, there's a key word, there's a key thing, and a key theme. Okay? Luke always thought that Vader betrayed and murdered his father, but what he tells him is from a point of view, right? Thing is, okay, he's like, he turns around to Obi-Wan and he goes, but I can't kill him. And he goes, I once thought as you did. When did Obi-Wan ever once thought as he did after Vader had turned? Last time we saw Vader, he was burning up in a fire ball. Okay, there was no I thought as you did. There was none of that. It was a mano a mano duel to the end. But you know what? Maybe he did once think as he did. Maybe he thinks he can turn Anakin. Maybe he goes from one last mission to confront his old apprentice and turn him back to the good side to take down the Emperor. Kind of thing.
And they hint at a previous duel in A New Hope, right? So it doesn't relate back to their one in episode 3, but you feel there's been something in between.
Yeah, I don't know about that in A New Hope, but yeah, I do think there was a previous duel, because in Jedi, he said, he says you once thought, they both, even Vader says to Luke, Obi-Wan once thought as you did, but you don't know the power of the dark side. Yeah, you know what I mean? I must take you to my master. You know what I mean? Like we never get that in the prequels, but we can do that in the show. You know what I mean? But whatever that that end lightsaber duel happened, the end of that lightsaber duel, Kenobi should be left dead. Vader must believe that he has killed his old master. Yeah. Because when you get to A New Hope, he's confused. He's like, hang on, he's dead. You know what I mean? Everyone's convinced he's dead. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. There's that process that something's happened prior.
Yeah. So
what were you going to say?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is like the way he talks, and he was like, oh,
yeah,
I sense something, a presence I haven't felt since, right?
Yeah.
Now, the way he talks, like, as you clearly pointed out, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, right? The man is there looking, like barbecue shrimp. He's cooking. He is not in the position to be like, okay,
I sense his presence.
While I was cooking, you just happened to die in the aftermath. No. Right? If anyone
he's like, you took my lightsaber, bitch.
If anyone would know that Obi-Wan is alive, it would be Darth Vader. It would be Anakin Skywalker. He would know, because he'd be like, nah, you beat me and then ran away. There's no fucking way in hell that you did that and then just died somewhere. Right? So he would know. He would turn. So you're right. He would have to there would have to be a battle between them, a duel that the end leaves Obi-Wan on the verge of death, and then maybe even if it's a similar situation, but maybe you slightly reverse it. So like their battle was on Mustafar, maybe you put them on a battle, maybe it's on Ilum, maybe they have a battle on Ilum, right?
Yeah,
because Ilum is covered in ice, so maybe they have a battle on Ilum, and then he leaves him there, and he's just like, there's no way you can get off this planet. There's no ships. There's no nothing here. I'm going to leave you the way you left me, dying. Just here like that. Peace out, and then just bounce.
And then Yoda comes and saves him.
I wouldn't have Yoda.
Maybe-
I wouldn't have Yoda. He's on Dagobah. I would have Yoda force project himself and show up, and they communicate through the Force. I would have Liam Neeson. I would have Liam Neeson show up throughout, being a guide. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Obi-Wan was. He'd be the main guide. You know, because Yoda's still alive, they can still communicate through the Force. I'd show that side, and I'd basically show like Obi-Wan trying to do like whatever training to attain like that Force Ghost shit. You know what I mean? That's basically a quick line in the prequels, you know? Yeah. But the other thing, this thing pronounced, because I've made Darth Maul such a big entity in season 2, you know what else I'd do? Fuck it, give us everything everyone wants. As Leo says, just give me instant gratification. That's not the only lightsaber fight I do. I do Darth Maul versus Darth Vader. I would do Darth Maul versus the Emperor. I'd do both those fights. Why Darth Maul versus the Emperor? Well, you got to understand, Clone Wars, he goes toe to toe with Palpatine. Him and his brother, him and his apprentice go toe to toe with Palpatine. They lose. I'm not saying he's going to win, but he's definitely mad enough to go for a round 2. You know what I mean? And you've got to understand, Maul around that time is the Maul from the Solo movie. So he's got all these criminal organizations working for him. You know what I mean? He's got like, and also, he's the head of Mandalore around that time. Yeah. If I'm correct, I can't remember. Does he have the Darksaber? I think he might do. So yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the Darksaber. I'm a bit unsure. I need to rewatch. But someone correct me in the comments below. I'm unsure. But you could do so much, man, with more being in that show. But like I said, season 2 it has to be like 3 seasons, man. But,
all right. Yeah, I like where you're going with it. Okay. Any thoughts on Sasha's epic 3-season show?
Let it happen.
Never gonna happen.
We'll tag everyone the hell out of it on Twitter. You never know.
Let it happen, Sasha. I said, let it happen.
Let it happen.
Yeah. Well, maybe I put in too much. Maybe people are like, no, this is terrible. But you know.
Well, sound off in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on what we discussed today. Do we think the Rogue Squadron is going to do something well? What about Taika Waititi? You know, what do you expect from his Star Wars movie? What do you think about the TV shows that are coming up and some of the potential stories that's going to be delivered there? Let us know. Gentlemen, where can people let you know what they thought about your opinions?
Let me know what you thought on the Neil Coppin on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to your opinions. You could just, if you don't like it, just write it below here at Creative Control. Otherwise, you can't find me at.
You want to let Ken take all the heat.
Oh, well, you can find me at Sal_F1 at any of the social medias.
Sasha?
Flashman3 on Twitter.
And you can follow me at Ken and Talks Film on Twitter, Instagram, and all the social medias. You can find all our episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, any platform where there's a podcast, you can pretty much find us. We are everywhere. We're like a virus. If you like what we do, please subscribe, like, share our content. Let us know some of the ideas for future episodes of any topics or movie franchises you would like us to discuss. And, thanks very much for listening. Until next time, may the Force be with you.